From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big early morning here on Mornings LA with incredible details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 in this recording. We'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats will likely give you more months of checks. Then we'll go to the reconciliation process and why that recon will likely give you a lot of other sums of money. I'll go over what those sums of money are. Then we turn to the exciting details that you've been asking for. The final 15 minutes of this video will go over everything from July 4th, July 15th, the vote, the bills, the drafting, the bipartisan, Chuck's letter on Friday, everything you need to know across the board. Then we turn to FISH stimulus with raising up your benefits, SSI and SSDI, and the impact potential or not from the firing of Commissioner Saul last Friday. A lot of exciting breaking details in this recording. Then we turn to the big money that viewers continue to get. Tens of thousands of dollars for rent, utilities, internet, and Snap. I'm going to show you how to get to anywhere from $10,000 to $23,000 from this channel. It's a big early morning. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here. Let's get to all the breaking details starting right here, right now, on a big early mornings. Having a beautiful day where you are. The weather finally cooled off. I was just saying, hey, it got a little bit cooler, and then it got cooler, and then it got beautiful. It was just too hot last week in Santa Monica. Later this week it's supposed to be hotter, but at the moment it's perfect. So tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Jump in the live chat right now. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, a lot of breaking news today. First, we'll go over those monthly stimulus checks and why those Democrats will likely give you more months. Then we cut to the reconciliation process and why those Democrats are giving you other sums of money and more of it than before. Wow, exciting details. Then in the final 15 minutes of this video, do not miss it. We'll go over the bills, the votes, the dates, the checks, and we'll be going over what Chuck wrote on Friday about the whole process. Then we go over to Commissioner Saul's firing at Social Security Administration. Does this impact your FISH stimulus? And what you should anticipate as well. Then we go over the big money that viewers continue to get, and boy, they're getting a lot. They're getting $12,000 to $13,000 for utility for rent and $3,000 for utilities. Nisi getting $23,000. It could be you next. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning and taped in the afternoon. Coming up next is Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m., followed by Mornings Crypto and then noontime. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, fastest growing channel of its kind. Hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video. 3,000 likes. Every like helps. Don't forget to like the video. And consider becoming a member. Let's go right into that monthly stimulus check and understand that suddenly everything may have changed. When you look at House versus Senate, House has more checks. Pandemic plus 1 year, House bill. Senate, July to December. When you look at the payouts, they're slightly different as well. So the payouts are the following. $1,000 for House monthly after first month, 2. And Senate monthly unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Wow. Now that's deliciousness. That's per person. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000 a person. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400 a person. Now, why did this all suddenly change? 2 weeks ago, we were looking at this and saying, hey, the pandemic may be considered over for these legislators, which would just result in 1 year checks, not pandemic plus 1 year for the House. That would be 12 checks, $13,000. Compared to the Senate, well, interesting. And then it all changed. Started with LA County saying the pandemic's not over. Then Warren Buffett saying the same. Then the airline saying the same. And then last Thursday, it hit really hard. Japan calling a national state of emergency after the Delta variant causing the end to all spectators at the Olympic Games. States like Missouri at 80% capacity of ICU beds due to the Delta. Suddenly, we saw everything change. And with that, we fully believe the pandemic is not over, that the pandemic is still going on, and suddenly that could signal a lot more checks on the House side. because it is pandemic plus 1 year. So here you go. Pandemic plus 1 year could result in more than 12 checks from that house, which would be more than $13,000. Compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now. Vote House or Senate. House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Things just move very, very quickly on this channel. You can't really blink and you'll miss something. It's just a fast news cycle. Who do the Democrats want to give a fourth stimulus check to? You. If you got a third stimulus check, Democrats they want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. They represent double it. Family of four, Democrats represent you would get a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats represent you would get a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check will be the same amount for everyone, including adult dependents. And the fourth stimulus check would not come in waves. It's a monthly check. So if you are at the coffee shop this morning and you do see that barista, the check, he's a new barista. He has the little lapel, his name tag, it says Mr. Check. And he's making waves in your cappuccino. And you say, hey, Check, I see you're making waves in my cappuccino. Are you coming out in waves? And the check doesn't look back at you. It's just not a rude check. It's just a barista. It's just a barista. They don't really, it's just, you're just foam to them. Yeah, don't send me barista mail. I just don't want to read it. So there you go. The fourth stimulus check would come in the month of July for the month of July. The Democrats represent, maybe with a shot of espresso on the side. And in the month of August for the month of August. And while Nancy and Chuck said, hey, the fourth stimulus check will be called for a vote by July 4th, and it didn't. What happened? I'll explain in the third part of this video. Stay to that very final 15 minutes. I'll be going over what happened with July 4th. I'll be going over July 15th, the vote, the check, the drafting, the bills, the voting dates, everything that's coming up in the final 15 of this video. In the second part of this video, we'll be going over the recon and why that recon will be giving you more sums of money. But first, we'll also get a preview of the second half of this video. Commissioner Saul fired at Social Security Administration. What does this mean for your raising up of your benefits under fifth stimulus? I'll explain coming up in a second. But get a pen and paper ready because I am so proud of you. Viewers of this channel are getting fortunes. If you're in a live chat right now, post in the live chat the money you got for rent. Post the money you got for utilities or SNAP or internet. Incredible. I have been reporting that I can get you about $5,000 of rent, 4 to 6 months of rent, and viewers are getting $12,000 to $13,000 of rent. I said as to utilities, maybe a couple $100, viewers are getting $3,000. I said as a SNAP, I see some of my viewers getting $5,000 to $6,000. Now viewers are getting $12,000. I'm so proud of you. This is what this channel does. In March of last year, people were not getting their EIDL loans or the EIDL grants. So this channel was launched not to track their check because it wasn't coming. It was to get their check. And we got checks, $25 million of them. In fall of 2020, second stimulus was not yet a law and people needed money. So we weren't tracking the second stimulus check on this channel. We were cashing checks. And we cashed $250,000 in December for rent, like Tyrone's $15,000 for his family of four in Boston. Paid people's bills during the holidays. We're doing just again. Again, one more again right here. But the difference this time is you. You are doing numbers that I've never seen in the history of this channel. Massive numbers. So jump in the live chat right now. Post the money you've got. I'm just shocked and I'm so excited for you. Let's go over all the details. Get that pen and paper ready. I'm going to show you where that money is. Each place has different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. Are you ready? Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority, your city hall, your county hall, your county housing authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or muddled black. There is no muddled black. It just doesn't muddle. It's just black. Yeah, so don't create colors that don't exist. Or teal black. There is no teal black. They don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. And there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful money for rent. The next pot of the money is the SNAP. If you got SNAP, jump in the live chat. Post it right now. Post the annualized. If you don't know what the annualized is, use a Larry Kudlow calculator. Viewers are getting anywhere from $5,000 to $12,000 for this. Wow. Nisi got $23,000 for this channel, rent, utilities, and SNAP. Art Sullivan got 3 items, including SNAP. Gail got money for this SNAP. And Lynn Glenn got for herself, her son, and her mom. What is it? Is money for food. From Department of Agriculture. Reach out to Department of Agriculture. Now, here's something I don't understand, is if you qualify for a third stimulus, then you would likely qualify for SNAP. So then why are you paying for your own food when the federal government would pay for your food? Let's say you have a car in the driveway and the car needs fixing. You don't have $300 for it. But if you got on SNAP, they would pay $300 for your food. So instead of spending $300 on the food, the federal government will pay for it, and you have an extra $300 in the bank account to fix the car. That's how we do things financially on this channel. So go get that SNAP. How much does it pay? A fortune. Family of 4 in Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year now. Wow. Why so much money? Because of 2 executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raised your benefits up to 15%. So go get it. And you're killing it. I'm killing it. We're all killing it. You're getting $16,000 for SNAP for a family of 4 in Hawaii, $5,000 for rent, which is now turning into $10,000. And we're only 11 minutes of this video. Well, the next pile of money is coming back from the states. The states have been ordered to return money back to you due to overpayment of unemployment benefits and a computer error. Not your computer. Where's it going to land? Direct deposit. When? Reach out to your respective state. Say, hey, state, where's my money due to computer error? And can you track it this time with a computer that actually works? And the last wonderful pot of money is the money coming back from IRS. If you got this as well, post in the live chat. It's important to understand why it's important to post in the live chat monies you got. Every time you post in the live chat, 4 benefits come from it. 1, people who haven't gotten anything see it and say, I see a lot of people getting that. Maybe I should get it. Maybe it's not so hard. Number 2, someone that got something else but didn't get that will say, hey, I got rent, but I didn't get SNAP. I should get SNAP because I see a lot of people getting SNAP. Number 3, it helps me see the numbers because ultimately, sometimes the numbers are bigger and bolder than I thought. And finally, it updates other people, especially in the case of the return of the unemployment benefits refund check from IRS. It updates other people saying, oh, some people just got it, so mine might be on the way. Let's go over the details of how this works. How much is this refund check? Well, let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of total taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, do a transcript search, and it'll reveal stuff that you never knew. Some stuff you don't want to know. You wish you forgot. It'll reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid. It'll reveal, is muddled black really coming into fruition? What's better, black or muddled blue? And then what happens when you put teal with black? Is it still teal? And there you go. Is there something more wonderful than that? Yes. The second part of your 4 stimulus check update 2021 starting right now. Well, here we go. That reconciliation is now passable. It wasn't that way 2 Wednesdays ago. 2 Wednesdays ago, a split occurred in which they took roads and bridges out of the recon and put it into something called the bipartisan. What happened? Well, days earlier, the President, Nancy, Chuck, and Jalapal were meeting with the Democrat caucus saying, hey, would you vote in favor of this recon that has roads and bridges in there? They said, no, it's too big. Take the roads and bridges out. So 2 Wednesdays ago, they shrunk the recon by taking roads and bridges out, making it passable. And now it is passable. Your money is still where it is. Roads and bridges is now moved elsewhere. The recon still remains as the recon, the roads and bridges and the bipartisan. And now we have a 2-path process, recon and bipartisan. What made this wonderful is now the recon is passable. What does passable mean? It means if you call for a vote, it would pass. We have that confirmation from conservative authors in an op-ed in a conservative publication. Said the higher the top line was, price tag was on the recon before, the harder it was to pass them. There you go. That's the confirmation. Then it goes on to say, by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the bipartisan, from the recon and put in the bipartisan, now the recon is smaller. There you go. Pretty obvious. By taking out roads and bridges, the recon is smaller. In other words, the bipartisan made the recon passable. There you go. The GOP had nothing to gain by blessing the bipartisan because now it made the recon passable. Well, by shrinking the recon, now the progressives could add a little bit back in, and they confirm they are. What is it? First, let's go over the confirmation. Progressives are meeting daily with the White House, especially from the Progressive Caucus, to go over what they're putting in the recon. And then we have Representative Ilhan Omar confirms the add-ons to the recon recently. We have a commitment that regardless of what happens in the bipartisan, Congress will give us a recon that goes as big as we want it. There you go. The add-ons are going into that recon. And then we have Representative Richie Torres, Democrat of New York, who confirms one of the add-ons to the recon is housing. Housing? More about that in a second. As a result, I refuse to vote for any bipartisan that is not linked to a bigger recon. Wow. So how are they able to get away with this? Well, because it's protected the recon by Jalopal and the progressives. Brian Schatz said the details recently. He said that the White House tells him that they consider the progressive priorities in the recon their own priorities. Now, how did we get here? What's a recon, and what does this mean? How does this get written? Well, a recon stands for reconciliation. It's a Democratic bill, in this case, written for Democrats to pass by Democrats. And the recon has a lot of money in there for the Americans. It's not about money for the institutions. The subcommittee members of the House Ways and Means later in this video, you can see, confirm that they're putting monthly stimulus checks in there. The president has announced that there's money in there for seniors, adults, medicine, children, climate, and electric vehicles. But what else is in there? Well, let's go over what else should be in there. What should be in there is extension of unemployment benefits. Last Thursday, the unemployment numbers were released, and they were awful. Now, the new jobless claims number released on Thursday documents how many people who had jobs last year still have the job this year, worked every single day from last year all the way up to now, and then suddenly showed up a week ago and said, "Hi, you're laid off." What? Yeah, so 373,000 of these people suddenly laid off after all this entire pandemic, much higher than Wall Street was expecting. They're expecting 350,000. Stock market fell on concerns the economic recovery was not there, and China showing contraction of their economy. This all signals that we should extend unemployment benefits under forced stimulus recon. So if you think they should extend it, you need to push Purple Power to get those extensions in there, get those add-ons in there. Now, how do they do a recon? Who writes it? Well, that recon is being written by House subcommittee members. Under the Constitution, the House subcommittee members are delegated certain subjects for legislation drafting based upon what that subcommittee is about. So House Ways and Means oversees stimulus checks solely, and they oversee unemployment benefits. Other departments do other things. But also, under the Constitution, no requirement that those subcommittees at all show you what they're doing. They don't have to show you a draft. They don't have to tell you how they've been voting. They don't have to tell you much of anything. And ultimately, it's not for you to say they haven't written anything because they may just don't have to show it to you. How does it become a bill then? Well, ultimately, let's say we have 10 subcommittees. Those 10 subcommittees are finally finished with their, let's say, 100 pages of document. And then those 100 pages are combined, and suddenly you have a 1,000-page document. You're done. Not much other writing at the Senate or House floor. Leader Schumer saving time by having the House as the lead authors of the recon and the Senate subcommittees as viewing over the discussion. And how did we get to this wonderful spot? From Jalopal. Jalopal had Richard Schumer a letter saying, "Chuck, call the vote. Chuck, call the vote on the forced stimulus recon." That letter was signed by 12 House Democrats from among the 100-plus who had said, "We are going to put monthly stimulus checks in the forced stimulus recon." Wow. Can we top that? We can. As 7 members of that House Ways and Means subcommittee that I just went over wrote the president a letter recently saying, "We're going to do monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus recon." Okay, so remember, that's a subcommittee that's responsible for stimulus checks. And they wrote the president that they're going to put it in there. Now, ultimately, you have to push Purple Power. Legislators can change their mind. Something can be in there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and by 4 o'clock it could be taken out, or it could be added back in there. So you need to push. Never hold up that door and say, "When's the check in my hand?" Because things may change. And ultimately, you may think that other things should be added to the recon. They can very easily add unemployment, eviction moratorium, mortgage forbearance, and rent assistance as well. How do we get to that wonderful spot? From the president, when he anchored forced stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line with an international agreement. 3 weeks ago, you saw a ceremonial international agreement signed on the books, but now it's official in the last few hours. The president's official deal is done. This is huge because now forced stimulus recon does not need in the bill anything about international corporate taxes. Number one, makes it easier to write the bill. You don't have to have it in there. Number two, makes it easier to call the vote. They don't have to think about the subject matter. It's not in there. Makes it easier to pass schedule the vote. They don't have to worry about this provision. It makes it easier to pass for a stimulus recon because it's not in there. Wow, that's wonderful news. Can we top that? We can. In the final 15 minutes of this video, we go over all the big details you've been asking for. We go over what's happening for July 15th and July 16th. We go over what happened with July 4th. We'll go over what's going on with the bipartisan. We'll be going over the votes and the voting steps. We'll be going over the bill drafting as well. A lot of breaking news coming up in this video. Then we'll also be turning to fifth stimulus, and we'll go over Commissioner Saul's firing at Social Administration. Does this impact your raise of your benefits under fifth stimulus? I'll explain all the details. But first, something more wonderful, and it's the volunteers. If you've tried to get this big money for rent and utilities and SNAP and you cannot find it, don't worry, I got your back. Reach out to the volunteers. Where are they? Open the description of this video. Go down the description. It'll have a link to the community page, news.lalate.com/community. On the community page, you can reach out to the volunteers. They can help you get that rent, utilities, internet, and SNAP. And they are incredible. Here's a little bit about them. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with the big finale of your fourth and fifth stimulus. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on early mornings LALATE. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and it's a big week upon us. We'll be going over fourth stimulus and what shock stimulus on a Friday. We'll be going over the vote, the bills, the draft. All those final 15 minutes of this video are going to be incredible. So stay to the final 15. Then we'll also be going over this firing of Commissioner Saul. Does that impact your fifth stimulus? I'll have all the details as well. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Next stop at 1 million. I want you to subscribe to this channel, be part of this incredible family, and have all the information delivered to you. Also, like this video. Every like helps in the algorithm rankings. Remember not to forget to like the video. It also just delivers a sign of some pasta. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and the pinned comment, also under the video where it says join. Stay on this video, it'll automatically take you to Overnight's Crypto, currently playing on the channel. All right, let's go to first the big lift of your benefits under fifth stimulus and why this lift of your benefits is so incredible and the impact of it from Commissioner Saul's firing, if at any. First, they're going to raise your benefits up. Then they're going to remove the asset limit, add inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, remove the marriage penalty. This is fifth stimulus. This is the SSI and SDI reform. On Friday, the President of the United States fired Commissioner Saul, head of Social Security. Does this impact this fifth stimulus reform? No, because he can't pass laws. He's not in the Congress. He can just send out money. So his firing has nothing to do with it. Doesn't impact it whatsoever. Does the president's choice to fire him impact the passage of the bill as law at all? No, because remember, the president doesn't write laws. He's the president. He's not in Congress. Ironically, this law is proposed by congressmen, not by the president. The president, when campaigning for president, said he was going to do these certain things, didn't do it. Then in the transition paper said he was going to do it, didn't do it. So these congressional leaders have written it up for him, saying, hey, you promised you're going to do it. We're going to put it in there. Meantime, under fifth stimulus, there's also going to be a stimulus check that's going to be next year, written by those recon people in House Ways and Means. The president's dedicated $1 billion to Social Security Administration before the firing of Saul, which would ensure your checks go out on time. And if you're missing the first, second, and third stimulus check, you need to file a tax return and request it on the tax return. There's no way around it. That is what the IRS has mandated as the rule. All right, so how does this raising up of your benefits work under fifth stimulus? And what happened on Thursday? Oh, confusing. Well, first they're going to raise your benefits up a lifetime. Who's you? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad Benefits, Veterans Benefits, Survivor Benefits, or SSA. Then they'll apply that new benchmark, which is inflation, later this year for next year's benefits. Will that inflation rate be going up? Well, it depends on what day of the week you're looking at this channel. So on Thursday, the 10-year Treasury note plummeted as concerns that economic recovery was slowing in the United States and internationally. A lot of people say, maybe we're not going to see that inflation spike. I disagree. I'm going to stick with Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, who says that inflation rate is going up and reach its highest point by December. It will be temporary or transitory and then come down. But he says it's still going up to December, so I'm sticking with that. How high is that inflation rate going to be? Well, new economic data today that suggests that the upsurge, the rise of existing home sales is so severe that existing homes have gone up over 15% across the nation, that the housing market alone is accounting for a 2% rise of inflation. Understand, I'm not talking about the whole inflation rate as being 2%, just an additional 2% just for the housing market issue at hand. So I don't think inflation is 5% in December, folks. I think it has to be a lot higher. Wall Street analysts are looking at about 10, so let's use that number. First, your benefits will be raised up a lifetime, then they'll apply that benchmark. If the benchmark is 10%, then they'll raise your benefits up 10% lifetime, not just next year. It's wonderful news. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't stay on benefits and also have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you'll be able to have some stimulus checks and a taco in your hand. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. Now you'll be able to work if you wish. And they're going to remove the marriage penalty. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. No longer fear loss of benefits, no longer be penalized. And it's not retroactive. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get this big money. And there you go. That is fifth stimulus. But boy, if you are sitting in the live chat and you see the people with the purple hawk next to their name, you're like, how do they have a hawk and I don't have a hawk? And how do they have this money and getting this money? How am I not getting this money? Consider becoming a member. The link's under the video where it says join member. It's also in the description on the top of the video. By becoming a member, I deliver to you daily a breakdown of all the big money for you under third stimulus. When third stimulus passed, we said, sure, there's going to be a $14 stimulus check, but I'm going to try to get you $14,000 or a lot more because there's a lot of money available for you under the third stimulus package. So consider becoming a member so that you're delivered daily to you a breakdown of all the big money that is in third stimulus. It's still there. Pounce as a purple hawk and get it before someone else does. Tens of thousands of dollars like Nisi, who got $30,000 from this channel. And there you go. Which brings us to our final 15 minutes of fourth stimulus, starting right here, right now. Well, a lot of breaking news. Whatever happened to that July 4th date? Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer said over 1,000 times that the final vote on the recon will be by July 4th. Didn't happen. Why did it not happen? Because at the time they said that, the recon was the original big recon that had roads and bridges out of it. In it. Well, my question then would be, wait a second, you took the roads and bridges out 2 Wednesdays ago. That was before July 4th. So why not call the vote then? Because there's some Democrats who say you cannot call the recon for a vote unless you're ready to, at some point, to call the bipartisan for a vote. To which one viewer on Noontime said, can you give me the names and phone numbers of those senators who said that? Yeah, similar. I agree with the viewer about the displeasure with the announcement. Well, that's fine then. If you have to call the vote on the recon and at some point later than the bipartisan, what's the big deal? The recon is ready for a vote, isn't it? Yeah, we've basically been told that the recon is nearly finished or is close to being finished. So just call the recon for a vote now and get to the bipartisan like in November. It's a road and bridge. It's still going to crumble. No, those same Democrats came back and said, no, you need to call the votes closer together, like just a few days apart. Now, remember, you have to call the recon for a vote before the bipartisan or concurrently. It can't be after because it won't pass. But okay, so we have to call them closer in time, like just a few days apart. All right, so the bipartisan's ready for a vote, isn't it? No, there's no bill for the bipartisan. Yeah, so that was a surprise. That was a surprise to most of us. There is no bill for the bipartisan, and there was certainly no bill when they split it. To which I think then myself, wait a second, they split the bill. They split the recon from the bipartisan 2 Wednesdays ago. So that was 2.5 weeks ago. They haven't written it since then? No. Now, this is where it becomes unacceptable. Hashtag write the bill. This is 2020 all over again. Hashtag write the bill. Why is this happening? It's happening because last month the president met with Shelley Moore Caputo, the Republican negotiator, for a month to try to do the bipartisan deal. She had no pen and paper. She had no bill. He had a binder. He had no bill. He had no pen and paper. Ultimately, no one put anything to writing, and those negotiations fell apart. Then he got a call from the bipartisan group, and they started negotiating. Guess what? Same thing. He didn't have a bill. They didn't have a bill. He didn't have a memo. They didn't have a memo. And finally, they came to a gentleman's agreement. And that was 2.5 weeks ago. Unacceptable that in the 2.5 weeks since the gentleman's agreement, no one has written a final bill. It's also unacceptable that no one thought to write a bill about this while negotiating for 2 months because, hey, we're talking about crumbling Americans more important than crumbling bridges. The bridges have been crumbling for 200 years. Americans can't crumble anymore. They need their money. And so it's certainly unacceptable. So go on social media, hashtag, you have to push purple power. Hashtag, write the bill. It's not acceptable for this to be dragging on any longer. Number 2, the voting days. Well, the dates. We just went over July 4th. What about July 15th? July 15th has nothing to do with this channel. I love my viewers. They all know that answer. July 15th is third stimulus children's check. This is fourth stimulus. This is not a third stimulus video. This is fourth stimulus. And to anyone who says, but they're already doing third stimulus, can they take care of our fourth at the same time? Nope. Then we go to the voting process. The voting process gets some peculiar questions here and there. Remember, this is a democracy, not a dictatorship, or at least not yet. This is a democracy. So as a democracy, you can't just have one vote or one strike of the pen. I had one viewer on New Time yesterday say, seriously, was not joking, as a Purple Hawk, said, can the president just take out his, call up Janet Yellen and say, send out some checks? No. No. I think if he had that ability, young little babies would have $50 million in the bank account tomorrow. No, he can't do that. That's a dictator. This is not a dictatorship. This is a democracy. So for something to become a law, the Senate has to vote on it, the House has to vote on it, the president has to sign a law. Okay, so which there is important details you need to go over. Number 1, Chuck Schumer's saving us some time. Normally a bill goes to Senate subcommittee and House subcommittee, and that takes up time. He's splitting the time by saying Senate subcommittees work with the House subcommittees in writing recon, and we will not be sent to the Senate we won't be sent to 2 subcommittees during the process. So that is why this early in this video I talked about the subcommittees working together. It saves time. So how many bills do we have here? We have 3 bills to do. We have the recon procedural, the recon substantive, and the bipartisan. How many steps of voting do we have to do? 12. Yeah, 12. Doesn't have to take 12 days, but we have to do 12 steps. 3 steps of 4. Senate subcommittee, Senate floor, House, President. There you go. No way to cut the corners. And this hasn't happened yet, but I expect it to happen sometime in the next week or two, where people will say, they're just adding additional voting steps because they just don't want you to have money. No, it's the Constitution. They're not amending the Constitution. They have enough issues getting the bipartisan written. They don't have to be writing up a new version of the Constitution anytime soon. So then, finally, what did Chuck do on Friday? Chuck said something very interesting. Did I like it? Yeah, I liked it. Am I excited about it? No. I had told you over the last few weeks that there's a Constitution, and the Constitution allows you to see the Constitution entitles the president to call members of the Senate or House back into session to vote on something. The Speaker of the House and Leader Schumer have that authority as well under the Constitution to order people back into town to vote. So what did Chuck say on Friday? Not about voting, but a little bit before that. So I like that in this regard. He said, be prepared to stay in town and work more weeks. Okay, so that's a little bit different than voting. It's not like I'm going to call you back to vote. I'm telling you, get ready to stay here and work more. I like that. Why I don't like part of it, it's vague. It's just very vague. And second, it's just sort of, some viewers are very excited about it. I was like, I'm not very excited about it. It's like he had to say that. What else is he going to say? Enjoy your vacation, member of Senate. I'll see you in October. And while you're while you're at the resort club holding your Mai Tai at the country club, don't trip on the homeless people outside that you didn't take care of while you're on vacation. I mean, what else is he going to say? Of course, he's going to say something. Next, it's important to know that when considering writing legislation, it's done in subcommittees. Under the Constitution, there's no authority, there's no requirement that subcommittees of the House or subcommittees of the Senate have to show you what they're writing, how they've written, how they voted, or what they voted on. They don't have to show you. And ultimately, I want you to know that you have to push with this bipartisan. But on the other regard, you need to really push to get stuff into the recon. Now's the opportunity. Last week's economic data was horrible. It was horrible. It's every reason to have unemployment, UI, PUA, PUC, eviction moratorium, mortgage forbearance, rent aid put under for stimulus. Here's what you need to know. It doesn't take more than 10 seconds to put it in there. Why? When they do another round of something, more weeks of something from before, it's literally just that sentence. In first stimulus, CARES Act 1, they had a massive bill because they had to create these programs. And they created these programs each with separate names, the act of this and the act of that. Once it was done, when they wanted to do it for more additional weeks next year, this year or later last year, all they had to do was write another sentence. We extend that thing from 2020 another 4 weeks. So if you're sitting back here and one of the unemployment things that you want has been expired or is not expired and needs to be extended, all they have to do is write a sentence and add to the recon. It's very easy. So push Purple Power, push to get all these things in there. Remember, don't hold up that donut and say, where's my stimulus check and when is my stimulus check land in my bank account? Remember, these are legislators. They can change their mind. They can take something out. They can put it in. They can make it bigger. They can make it bolder. You have the opportunity now upon you. Why? Because the economic data is very bad last week. It's not very common that we have bad economic data. Here's something you need to know, which I don't always say on this channel. The President of the United States and his staff and the Congress look at economic data routinely by the hour. 2 weeks ago, when the job creation number came out, it was good. And the president did a victory lap, press conference after press conference about that economic data. They watched these numbers and they saw last week's numbers. They were bad. So use these bad numbers in your benefit. Certainly make the big push that, hey, we need this money. Call up your Democratic senators and say, we need this money. Meantime, this week, we will see new indicators of what the economic data will be. Understand, the White House and Congress watches this data. And what is this data? The first week of new corporate earnings. It goes on for several weeks. And what they're going to look for is whether the numbers are good, insanely great, or bad. If they're good, it doesn't make any difference because you expect them to be good. If they're insanely great, it's troubling for us because there may be some moderate Democrats saying, oh, wow, the numbers were really good. Maybe we shouldn't be giving them this type of stimulus. And the numbers are bad for corporate earnings. That would be great news for us. So what are we expecting this week? On Tuesday, PepsiCo, JP Morgan Chase, and Goldman Sachs